We have Parth from Tria here. Tria is one of the most interesting teams and projects I've come across. They have a bunch of really cool products, including a crypto card that's very, very interesting. There's yield generating opportunities in there. You're also doing a bunch of really cool things around cross-chain abstraction, cross-chain DeFi as well. So why don't you introduce Tria to us, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. So Tria right now, like we are a non-custodial end-to-end payment stack. And very simple, we're just trade, earn, and spend. We've been live for like about a year and a half, 2 years now. Started off with trading with our IP Best Path AVS. That's how we sort of like entered Web3 around doing interop for a lot of these chains, Arbitrum, Orbit, All Polygon, Agalair, and CDK, Injective, BitLayer, Merlin, Morph, etc. There's a lot of AI agents that also use our tech proprietary. Now we are tapping into effectively consumer neobanking, where the reason why we like started all this was like, the promise of crypto was that, hey, you can actually go and use it in the real world. But every time, you and I, every time like the regular users wanted to use crypto in the real world, it just broke. It didn't work. It didn't, work with the existing rails that we had, that we have today. So that's sort of why where we are. That's why we started Tria. And yeah, excited for this. Excited for the pod.
Awesome. And how did you go from basically Best Path AVS, which is more of an infra product, and how did you get into the whole neobanking side of things?
It's quite an expansion. So like long story short, we started off with abstracting the chains, right? So a year and a half ago, we were all about, hey, we started off with social logins, onboarding, the Web 2 on a Web 3. We've always been about UX in Web 3, right? We didn't want to we didn't want the users to care about gas or bridging or swaps, etc. So we started off with that, but then we did a beta, had about 80K users come in on one chain, and then they were trying to go onto the other chain, and obviously the UX broke. That's when we started with Best Path. So Best Path effectively is, long story short, it's a micro markets of what we call pathfinders. It effectively guarantees you the most efficient trades, most efficient interop across chains and across all VMs. So that's where we were. What then happened was a lot of solvers came into the market, a lot of players in the interop space came in the market, and we realized that, hey, like at the end of the day, solving and interops and swaps, etc., will become a race to zero. It's a race to zero. The fees will go down. The tech will get better and better and better. And you win the market as a company, as a business, when you own the entire user journey end to end. We work with these chains, we work with all these AI companies. We had a lot of moat there, but at the same time, we were like, okay, the next most logical step is to own our own order flow. And that's where we like got into consumer payments. We started with just trading, and now we're all about, hey, you can trade, you can earn, and you can spend. All of this uses Best Path.
Interesting. So it basically came about as you started with the infra layer, realized that there's a lot more value in actually capturing the customer relationship, and now you have this product for end users. Tell me about your cards. Tell me why I, as a user, should sign up, and what are the advantages over a traditional card?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's my favorite question. So obviously, I think there's three parts. One, like Web 2 banking, Web 3 banking. Everybody knows Web 2 banking, you don't really own your money. The bank does. You've got all these different kinds of fees that you pay. You're at the mercy of the bank. You're at the mercy of the institutions there. In Web3 with Tria, and in Web3 in general, like you own your stuff, you own your assets, you own your crypto. You're not at the mercy of third party or even Tria or any platform that you use. The second part was when you use, let's say, your cards in Web2, your debit credit cards, it's just being deducted over from your balance, from your checking account or whatever. With Tria specifically, what we're doing is your money's not idle. Your money is actually deducted. It's spread across all your entire DeFi positions, your L1s, L2s. It's farming for yields. It's plugged into a lot of different opportunities, and every time you spend, it's being deducted from there. So you're kind of like when you go and buy a coffee, like for like $5, you're not really paying for it. Your yield is. So we're pretty much like engineered DeFi in such a way it's being you can actually spend in the real world without really having to think about it. So that's why we're really excited about it. And the third part would be like in Web 2 banking right now, there's a lot of restrictions. There's a lot of KYC AML. We're KYC'd. But in Web 2, Web 3, a lot of transactions get locked. There's a lot of just regulatory issues, right? You cannot use your card in certain countries. You cannot use your card in at certain merchants. With Tria, we're powered by Visa. We're Visa principal providers. We work across 150 plus countries. I've used like our own Tria card across like eight different countries over the last like 2 months, in like LATAM, Australia, Japan, etc. And it's worked very flawless. The fees are great. It's 0% in US. It's under 1% in all over the world. So yeah, I think it's just, a very great financially engineered way of spending your own money.
Interesting. So you basically have yield being generated on, let's say, so it's kind of like a checking account essentially. So let's say you put 10K in that. On that 10K, you're earning a certain yield. Where is that yield coming from? What is the risk profile of that yield?
Absolutely. So right now we work with 2 major providers. We work with Concrete and Kiln. In Tria, there's trade, earn, and spend. When you open up the app, think of it as like Revolut, right? Very simple UX. People don't have to think too much. In your trade account, you can trade. It's powered by Best Path. In your earn account, it's whatever your DeFi positions are. You can go across any DeFi protocols that Kiln supports. It's across like major EVMs, even Solana, and a couple move chains. And then we're doing something with Concrete with their wallets and some of our partners, including like Aether and Zero G, where we are effectively giving additional rewards to these users to these wallets. So these wallets, when you put money in, you're generating yields and they come with a Tria card. The risk profile is straightforward. We're not going too heavy. We're not going too degen here. It's 10 to 15% yields on both stables as well as like liquid tokens, or like volatile tokens as well.
Interesting. So it's basically you have your earn account, and then whenever you spend money in real world, it comes in from that, but you're also earning yield, and then you as a user decide where that yield comes from. Like there's different. So it's not like let's say here's this generic checking account and the yield is just like behind the scenes. It's more you as a user decide where the yield's coming from or what strategies are being. Okay, interesting. And then how does this compare? Like, let's say you said traveling across the world. How does this compare in terms of foreign exchange fees? How does that work? Is it in USDC or?
Right. Interesting question. So right now it's USDT right now, what we support, but we're talking to a couple providers of ours right now. Cannot name names, but yeah, we might do more than USDT settlements like at the end of a transaction cycle, using different assets. Could be stables, could be volatiles, could be like regular tokens as well. All of that would be powered by Best Path, but like we're just not focused on that right now. But yeah, in the future, like you can expect to spend natively using like maybe like ARB token or Paul or Zero G token. You can spend natively using that.
Interesting. Could you even, let's say, Bitcoin?
You can use your Memecoins.
Yeah, that's cool. That's one of the things that I remember listening or hearing on the 1000X podcast is, in a lot of cases, you want to hold as little fiat as possible, hold as much Bitcoin as possible, and especially as fiat gets debased. So being able to spend that Bitcoin, et cetera, without having to convert into fiat could be actually useful. Or even if you hold fiat, being able to generate yield on it, so you're fighting debasement, that's also really useful. So it's pretty interesting. And I guess the second part of that question was how does foreign exchange fees pay into it? Like when I'm traveling, what are the fees like, et cetera?
For sure. So far, like we've opened up the beta. So we have a huge community in Japan, LATAM, Australia, I think I've told you about, of about like 300,000 users. We did a small like controlled beta with 4,500 users. So far, we're like rev positive everything. There in the benchmarks that we see, it's 0% in the US, and always under like 1%, all across the world. Like I've used a card across 8 countries, as I've said. I don't think I've seen, my Forex being over, or all the fees included, Forex, settlements, on-ramps, off-ramps, etc. Everything combined, I don't think I've even seen myself over like 0.5. But for the legal terms, we say it's like just, under 1% always. But yeah, users can expect it to be like 0.2, 0.5, etc.
Interesting. And how does this work in terms of withdrawals from ATMs? What are those fees like?
Yeah, ATM withdrawal fees. So far in Tria, like card specifically, on our end, we don't charge anything. It's completely free. It's on the POS machine or the ATM, whatever they charge.
Okay, that is awesome. So yeah, you got a new user right here. As long as you can accept my my residency, etc.
Oh yeah, we work across 150 plus countries, so I think you're fine.
Perfect. There we go. And what are you most excited about in terms of Tria's upcoming products or upcoming features? Tell me what's coming down the pipe.
For sure. I think one of the most interesting things, or the GTMs that we've had always, was like we targeted Web 2.5 from the start. Like we've had conversations around this like a lot of times. We bootstrapped our communities in Japan like from the ground up. We didn't use any like Web3 marketing, none of that. We bootstrapped them, all of this from the ground up. We wanted to onboard these people who wanted to actually, who were on CEXs, on centralized exchanges, but wanted to come onto onto non-custodial platforms while retaining the same UX. So our GTM was always Web 2. Now I think the most interesting thing that we're doing is working with the Web3 companies, working with like Sentient, Polygon, Arbitrum, Zero-G, Aether, etc. And the whole idea there is now that we're able to, now that we have benchmarking of the Web 2, how do we bring Web3 rewards, Web3 DeFi, and a lot of different like incentives over from the Web3 world and give it to the same Web2 people that they never really expected. All these guys were thinking about this whole time, hey, this is non-custodial, there's less fees, we love it. But now I think we're going to incentivize it further with, with airdrops from our ecosystem partners that we have as well on all card spends, on all trading, on all savings accounts, so on and so forth. So I think combining the existing Web2 community that we have with this Web3, with the Web3 sort of alignments that we're making right now, the partnerships that we're doing, I think that's going to be very interesting. Over the next like 3 to 6 months, we're going to like full force do this with Concrete, with a bunch of different DeFi protocols, but a bunch of different like, chains and AI agents and so on and so forth. So I think that's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, so I kind of see this as becoming a consumer super app for essentially replacing your bank account, or at least replacing many aspects of that. Yeah. And then you're able to also earn yield from Web3 opportunities, new protocols coming to market that perhaps want like audience members to go do something. I could also see this be really interesting with RWA kind of stuff as well. For example, I would be really interested to see if you guys end up doing like anything similar to what USD.ai is doing with GPU financing. That could be an interesting area. I don't know is that something you've explored?
I don't think we've explored any of that yet. I'm connected over the team there, but I think right now like our main focus is trade and spend. Earn is like we're using third parties. We're not building our earned instruments yet. But I think long term, that's the whole plan. That's the whole thesis that we have. Like the Web2, the TradFi community, they're losing opportunity to better yields, to better investments in the Web2 world. We're trying to bring the Web3 opportunities over to them in a non-custodial way. I think what would be next, probably like next year, a year from now, a year and a half from now, would be where we bring these RWA protocols on board over to Tria itself, where people like absolutely anybody can non-custodial invest into solar, into wind, into all these different things that they didn't have access to before because of their jurisdictions, because of the opportunities that they were the limited opportunities that they had. So I think we don't plan to expand it right now. I think we'll stick to just DeFi. But yeah, in the future, I think there's going to be we definitely look at RWA. And then maybe also the stocks that we have on the Web2 market, probably bring them over to our earn products.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like just one place where you can buy stocks, get access to DeFi, earn yield. That sounds like a pretty awesome vision. What are the best ways that somebody can come and learn about Tria? Where should they go? How do they get a card?
Yeah, absolutely. Simplest way is tria.so. That's our website. Our Twitter is use Tria. Maybe you can link that down in the chat or something. But yeah, that's about it. Our cards are open to everybody now, and they can just go and get it.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.